Yes, yes, fight fans, body and mind, sports, my people. You are fully appreciated in this round, my guys, my people. I think let's start with Evislandi Lara versus Johannes Gonzalez. This was a PBC main event over in the US of A this past weekend, my guys, my people. And Lara beating Gonzalez via a complete shutout, unanimous decision, my guys, my people. But the fight itself, it really could have put a dead man to sleep, and I'm being serious. It was that boring. But I don't want to take no credit away from Lara. He did manage to create some excitement, at least in the first round. He dropped Gonzalez with a straight left, the straight left that Lara is well known for throughout his career. He also created excitement in the 12th round where he drops Gonzalez and almost stops him, but Gonzalez only makes it via the referee's count, and of course saved by the bell. Gonzalez, my guys, my people. So that was the end of the fight, and a great win for Evislandi Lara to retain his WBA strap at 160, my guys, my people. Lara, at the age of 42, now the oldest champion currently in the sport. But at this age, he has now beaten Gonzalez, who just before this fight had beaten Jarrett Hurd, someone who had beaten Lara at 154 some years ago. He nearly actually stopped Lara, my guys, my people. So knowing that history there, this is great testimony to just how fresh Lara is, just how well preserved he is at his age. He's even more better preserved. Well, he's even better preserved than Jarrett Hurd, the man that had beaten him previously, and is actually 10 years or so younger than Lara. Jarrett Hurd, 34 years old, and seriously declining fast, very fast. So Lara's freshness, right, is just how well preserved he is. This obviously has got something to do with dedication and discipline to the sport, right? But I think a bigger input has got to be his style. He's got a very efficient style, highly defensive minded. He's not taking too much punishment in his career, so that takes you a long way. And for me, considering that, Lara for me has got to be a true example, a symbol of the sweet science, my guys, my people. So yeah, great for Lara, man. Hope he goes on to do bigger things in the division. That said, this fight with Gonzalez, Lara was actually supposed to be fighting Janibek Alim Konali, the IBF and WBO champion, but Alim Konali currently waiting for his B sample, my guys, my people. But if he tests positive again in that B sample like it did in the first for meldonium when he failed VADA drug testing, my guys, my people, ahead of the Lara fight. That's why he couldn't make it to the Lara fight, my guys, my people. Gonzalez was a late replacement. So yeah, as things stand, I think Alim Konali and Lara would have been a better fight, you know, but Lara, judging him from his Gonzalez performance, he seems to have slowed down a little. His timing and his sharpness, it's not all there. It's not all, it's still got a lot of it, but it's still not all there. And being a relentless fighter, I think that Janibek maybe could have taken advantage of that. But at the same time, Lara showed in this fight he's still got his power, and Janibek is easy to hit. Maybe you could have run Janibek into something, but now we will never know. Janibek has messed up everything, and he might get stripped after his B sample, my guys, my people, depending if it is positive or negative. And he's messed up his opportunity to fight Crawford, who was looking to come down to the division in attempts to become undisputed, who was calling out Janibek Alim Konali he's messed it up now. Alin Konali, and Lara now wants the opportunity to fight Crawford. So let's see what Crawford does next, because day by day it seems like his options are actually dwindling, my guys, my people. So that's not going to leave him in a state of happiness, of course, understandably. But look, what has really pushed him over the edge this past week has been, of course, Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC stripping Crawford of his title at 168 pounds, my guys, my people, and now restricting him from fighting other WBC fighters and champions. Crazy stuff. The reasons being, Crawford refuses to pay 300k in sanctioning fees after defeating Canelo for the undisputed titlage, my guys, my people. Mauricio, who also added that the amount 300k was actually just 0.6% of Crawford's purse of 50 million, something that Crawford says is just entirely speculations, my guys, my people. But Mauricio also added that 0.6% was actually a huge reduction from what they would normally charge, which is 3%. Again, Mauricio added that from the 300k, 225k would have gone to the fighters' retirement fund, which is an organization that they have set up, a charity organization to help retired fighters, retired WBC fighters, my guys, people who have worked with the WBC, and WBC has had a hand in their success. Basically, my guys, my people, they've had a hand in each other's success, basically. You know, so all that sounds great, yeah, coming from Mauricio Suleiman, but for me it just looks like a blatant attempt to look like the trustworthy organization that puts fighters and fighters' interests first, my guys, my people. But we all know that's not the case, because if it was, why the hell is Terence Bud Crawford saying that partly the reason why he's refusing to pay this 300k is because he's paying the WBA, WBO and IBF an equal and fair amount. He's paid them already, and then he offered that same equal and fair amount to the WBC, and the WBC said no, we want more. They want more, not just the 300k, but they wanted an extra 100 and something k. So in total, Mauricio is looking for 400k plus, my guys, my people. Crazy stuff. I'm absolutely glad that Crawford is standing up. You know, for one, if the WBC, right, were less concerned about their cut from the 300k, so if they were less concerned about business, right, and they were so highly concerned about fighters, you know, interests, and being a do-gooder, a charitable sanctioning body, right, then they would have taken whatever was on the table from Crawford. They would have taken it, because at least, even if they don't get as much as a big of a cut as they were expecting, they would at least have the money, the 225k, to put towards the retired fighters fund. So yeah, it goes to show you that every good that the WBC does is just a means to an end, a means to making profit. And since they are not gonna see the profit that they wanted from Terence Bud Crawford, well then, F everybody else in it. F the charity, F the retired fighters, basically, because they walked away with absolutely nothing. A lose-lose situation when they could have walked away with something for their funds and maybe for themselves as well. So this is absolute greed that Crawford is pointing out about the WBC. Absolute greed, selfishness, and like an under the table sort of way of doing business. you know. And Crawford, he wanted to know, what is it that makes you more important than the other sanctioning bodies that you even wanted more in the first place? Absolutely nothing. My guys, my people. Crawford, who says that fighters shouldn't be paying sanctioning fees to the sanctioning bodies anyway, which is true, which is true. Marissa Solomon posing as if the belts and the sanctioning bodies make the fighters, when it is actually the other way around, my guys, my people. From when you go back in history up until now, you know, is the Muhammad Ali's, those names, the Floyd Mayweathers, the Lennox Lewis's, Mike Tyson's, that made those belts, the Crawfords, the Canelos, the fighters that made the belt, the fighters that put their neck on the line, their health, their life on the line. And that's the point that Crawford is making. Why the hell should we be paying sanctioning fees to these people just to fatten up their pockets and basically fund their luxurious living, my guys, my people? And Crawford is saying that is not on, which I 100% agree with, my guys, my people. So Crawford is now saying, F your belt. I don't need your belt. I'm still the undisputed champion because I've still got the ring belt, my guys, my people. You know, which is true to me, because Crawford has got the ring belt. He's still undefeated. He hasn't been beaten by anybody, and he's taking out the top man, Canelo, at 168, all right, and he's yet to be beaten. So you can't be undisputed without beating Crawford, basically. So as far as I'm concerned, Crawford is still undisputed. He's still undisputed, and the ring belt, which he now represents, has a long lineage of lineal champions, unbroken, uninterrupted by you know, what they would do in the other sanctioning bodies, which is at times they might, you know, make somebody jump the rankings, and because of that we might have a premature champion. None of that with the Ring magazine. Everybody who has been a ring champion has been 100% qualified, right, and proven, my guys, my people. So they have a long history of lineal champions, my guys, my people. So of course Crawford is still the undisputed champion as far as I'm concerned. He's got the most important belt still backing him, but that does not mean that the other belts don't mean anything. They still do. They still do. Once upon a time, when Crawford wasn't the man that he is now, all right, #1 pound for pound in the world, 3 times undisputed champion in 3 different weight classes. Before this time, there was a time when he was you know, fighting to get belts and make his name. So the belts are still important. There was a time when he too was trying to get these belts and do the same thing that his heroes did. So yeah, he must consider that there are other fighters who have not accomplished as much as him, who are trying to do the same as him. And for that reason, the 4 belts, including the WBC, is still very, very important. Just not to Crawford, because he's at the stage now where he doesn't really need the belts you know, to be who he is, you know, to make him who he is, my guys, my people, you know. But yeah, the 4 belts are still very much important, and that is a point that Eddie Hearn was making, you know, and he sort of alluded that Crawford, because he's with the Ring and Turkey Al Sheikh, now maybe they're putting the battery in his back to go and be their mouthpiece. maybe, but I highly doubt it, because what Crawford did there is for me totally in line with his character. He is that real guy that will speak up when he feels that is done wrong, my guys, people, 100%. And here he's done wrong, and he's not only standing up for himself with this issue, he's standing up for all boxers, all fighters in the sport, my guys, my people. But Eddie Hearn, he thinks that what Crawford did is similar to going to a restaurant, ordering, well, a high-end restaurant, ordering caviar, the most expensive meals, and then when the bill comes, you can't afford to pay for it, so you scamper off. This is not the same. This is not the same, because Crawford, right, and Canelo, who fought on the night that made the show, people are there to see them. So they are the meal, they are the restaurant, they are everything valuable about what was about the show that night. Not the WBC. They do absolutely nothing but just show up and say, hey, here's our bill, and that's it. And for that, they want to get paid 300K, 400K plus. I mean, right? For that, nah, that is not on. I think Eddie Hearn, yeah, what came from his mouth is what is expected anyway. Same with Oscar De La Hoya siding with the WBC, and trying to make Bud look like he's the bad guy that doesn't want to give back to a sport that has given him so much, my guys, my people. They are absolutely reaching, because they got no legs to stand on, my guys, my people. Both Oscar and Eddie Hearn benefit from the WBC. They're benefiting right now, so I'm not surprised that they're speaking so well of the WBC. I'm not surprised why they're not siding with Crawford, despite that this is a very, very huge and important stance for fighters, my guys. I'm not surprised, because what we have here are two promoters. Just everything is about business and supporting themselves and their company, bringing them the biggest profits, my guys, my people. And the WBC is doing a great deal for them to accomplish that. For example, we have Oscar. He's fighting Ryan Garcia, fighting Marius Barrios for the WBC strap. And guess what? Guess what, my guys? Ryan Garcia, who just came off a loss to Rolly Romero, and then before that came off a drugs ban to Osterine, 1 year drugs ban, right? You know, and he's also coming off a no contest result after he tested positive for that said Osterine in the Devin the Dream Haney fight. This was April 2024, my guys, my people. And guess what? Ryan Garcia, after all of this, is going to fight Marius Barrios for his WBC strap at 147. Ryan Garcia, who is not even ranked by the WBC. That is what I'm talking about. Favors, corruption, the WBC, their way of doing business, right? Literally undermines fighters who can't generate as much in finances as the more popular fighters that the WBC sides with and supports. My guys. Ryan Garcia is a big example. Now this is where Eddie Hearn comes in, because guess what? Conor Benn is in line to fight the winner of Ryan Garcia and Marius Barrios, my guys, my people. No surprise there. Just off of, you know, Conor Benn beating a shot Chris Eubank Jr. at 160, who Conor Benn actually lost to in the first fight. He beat Junior in the second fight, lost him in the first fight. So he's lost one, won one, in a different division to 147, and yet they want him to fight the winner of Ryan and Marius Barrios for the WBC strap, my guys, my people. Conor, who hasn't fought at 147 in 4 years, now the WBC has him ranked #1, just because he beat a shot Chris Eubank Jr. in a separate division, by the way, at 160. So he's literally done nothing at 147 to deserve this shot. But what has he got in common with Ryan Garcia? These are crossover names, very, very popular. They generate the money the WBC is looking for. And he's doing Eddie Hearn a favor. You know, Mauricio, he's doing Oscar De La Hoya a favor, my guys, my people. Now, Eddie Hearn, right, and Oscar De La Hoya, that is, but let's talk about Eddie Hearn. Like I said, he's just a promoter. He would do anything that's profitable to him and his company, and where it doesn't suit him, he's gonna say, okay, I'm not dancing. And that's exactly what he's done with Ben Whittaker, because he didn't complain when the WBC put the WBC silver on the line for Ben Whittaker, and a fighter who is not even accomplished enough to fight for the WBC. Yet he fought for that WBC silver title, right, against, what's his name again, Gonzalez, a fighter that going into the Whittaker fight is ranked under 100 in the world rankings. He's ranked under 100 in the world rankings in the light heavyweight division, and they put the WBC on the line for the winner goes on to potentially get themselves into a title cusp, into the cusp of a title shot. That's what the WBC does. Eddie Hearn didn't complain. Why? Because he knew Whittaker was going to beat Gonzalez easily, as he did in his highlight reel knockout 2 weeks ago, my guys, my people. And you get that WBC silver belt, obviously it moves you up the rankings. Once you're up the rankings, you obviously be worth more money for people that want to fight you, because now if they beat you, they get ranked higher and closer to the titles. Crazy, right? So and it's good promotion. So Eddie Hearn don't mind. Eddie Hearn didn't mind that, even though it was wrong. It was wrong. Why didn't he say it's wrong? But he's so quick to say that what Crawford did to the WBC is wrong. Yet he wasn't quick to point out that the WBC, putting the WBC silver on the line for Whittaker and Gonzalez, was wrong. He didn't. But lo and behold, as soon as the WBC says, okay, we've done you and your fighter a big favor here. Now we want you to do us a favor, right? Because the WBC wants to cash in on their good favor now, and so they want Whittaker to fight Joshua Buatsi in a final eliminator. So the winner will become mandatory to WBC champion David Benavidez. And you know what Eddie Hearn saying? We're not playing ball now. We're not playing. So they're exactly like these sanctioning bodies, these promoters. They're exactly the same. They're like, we're not playing, and that's exactly what Crawford was saying. Eddie Hearn saying we're not playing ball now, obviously, because he said it himself. Whittaker is not ready for the top 10 lightweights, as according to the Ring magazine. He's not ready, and that even includes not just Buatsi, but Anthony Yard as well. You know, maybe Willie Hutchinson, which is who is ranked number 10 by the Ring. You know, but yeah. So Willie Hutchinson, maybe, you know, and maybe Richards and Dan Aziz. He thinks that Whittaker could be ready for those fighters, right? But out of that bunch that I've named, I think that the only name that Eddie Hearn and Whittaker may try their hand at is Dan Aziz, who I think stylistically is tailor-made for Whittaker. I don't think he's gonna go near Richards anytime soon. I don't think he's gonna go near Willie Hutchinson anytime soon. Damn, I don't even think he's gonna go near a fighter like Ezra Taylor anytime soon. Even though Ezra Taylor, you know, is less experienced than those names that I've mentioned, my guys. He's the least experienced of the names I've mentioned, maybe aside from Whittaker, my guys, my people. But yeah, So Eddie Hearn is willing to play ball when it serves him, and not willing to play ball when it doesn't serve him. So he's a user as well, just like the WBC. He doesn't mind stepping on other fighters' heads just to get ahead and get his own fighters ahead, my guys, my people. But he better be careful, because come the 10th of January, his fighter Dalton Smith is going up against Zubro Matias, who failed drug tests for Osterine via VADA, but he's allowed to fight because his Osterine level was under 0.1 nanograms. And I was thinking, what, the WBC has such a rule that if your level of Osterine is less than 0.0 nanograms, then you can fight? This is absurd. But then I come to find out that that rule is actually a rule that has been set by the New York State Athletic Commission. Crazy stuff, right? Absolutely crazy. That a boxing commission in the sport, one of the strictest, by the way, in the sport, my guys, my people, upholds such a rule in boxing, where there is zero tolerance for drugs. And for the WBC to be going with this is very, very contradictory to what they claim to stand for, and that is clean boxing. They do have the clean boxing program, right? What the hell are they doing allowing somebody who has failed a drug test to fight to defend their title? Crazy stuff. Absolutely corrupt, the WBC. So yeah, I'm standing well strong for Terence Bud Crawford, my guys, my people. With that said, that's all I have for you on this one. And before you leave, do like, do share, subscribe, of course, drop your comments below, and yeah, stay blessed, my guys, my people, and thank you. But you know what, the weekend's boxing that took place in Monaco and in the US of A, I've already covered the main event for the US fights. That was Lara versus Johannes Gonzalez. But I'll be making another video today to cover all the boxing that took place this past weekend, plus the most current news as well. But with that said, that's all I have, my guys, my people. Stay blessed.